yours? Well, where's my computer?
I put them over here.
Print out all that shit you sent me.
Good.
Think you have stock in an ink company or something? Yes.
Are you ready?
Warning me the meeting's supposed to have an hour.
Ready? Live. Today is Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. It is now 6 p.m. This is a regular City Commission meeting of the City of West Miami and a public hearing for tentative city budget fiscal year 2024-2025. This meeting is now called to order. Please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear wise and loving Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thanks as well for the freedom to embrace you or the freedom to reject you. Thank you for loving us even so. From your boundless and gracious nature, amen.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Yes, item 3, roll call. Mayor Eric Diaz-Padrón.
Here.
Vice Mayor Natalie Emiliano Orbis.
Here.
Commissioner Juan Blanes.
Present.
Commissioner Ivan Chavez Jr.
Here.
Commissioner Luciano Suarez.
Yes.
Mayor, you have quorum.
Next item.
Presentation of minutes for approval, none this evening. Item 5, public comments. And I have one citizen who would like to address you of the public comments, Yolanda Aguilar.
Okay. Name and that's for the record.
Good evening, Yolanda Aguilar, 6404 Southwest 12th Street, West Miami, Florida. Mayor, good evening, Vice Mayor and City Commissioners. On Saturday evening, September 7th, I sent out a letter to the City Manager with copies to the City Commission, advising him of my concerns involving the preliminary budget that he submitted. As a resident, I appeal to your good sense of judgment to insist that the City Manager, at the very least, prepare a line item budget, not only for your benefit, for the greater benefit of those of us in the public who would like to be informed of what goes on in our city. Secondly, I ask that the Mayor and City Commission really ponder or think about directing the City Manager to place a citywide hiring freeze. The city now has 110 employees. That consists of 40 additional employees than what we had back in 2023. These employees are earning much higher wages, and many of those were not even contemplated in this year's budget. I've stated this before. It should be noted that the new employees are not performing to the standards that you are demanding from those who were here before the new administration came in. Simple day-to-day services are lagging. You are continuing to plant new trees without properly trimming trees on right-of-way areas or replacing trees that have outgrown their space, creating a problem for sidewalks and pedestrians. I have a 94-year-old mother with severe dementia. I cannot even bring her down to put her in my car to take her for a doctor's appointment. I think that's pretty sad. The city purchased a brand new tree trimming truck, which has been sitting in the lot for over 7 months because it doesn't work. There's a problem with with the vehicle. I don't know if you've been informed, but I can tell you that the tree trimming truck has not been put into use. Again, a purchase of $178,000 of taxpayer dollars. Drains are not being cleaned, especially during rainy months. I understand that the city hired recently a company to clean drains. The jet vacuum truck is inoperable and probably beyond repair as of now. As you deliberate on tonight's tentative budget for this new fiscal year, I leave you with something to think about. It is clear and evident that the way things are going here and the kind of money that's being spent, the city will run out of money at a greater rate than what I predicted initially. And sadly, this will all happen during your watch. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, anyone else for public comment?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, next item.
Item 6, report of the city manager.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. I have no report tonight on the budget presentation later on.
Okay, next item.
Item 7, report of the city attorney.
Nothing special, except I would continue to brief the boards and so forth regarding the public meetings and public records law tomorrow night, for
Good.
example.
All right, next item.
Item 8, report of the city engineer.
None.
None this evening. Item 9, committee reports.
Anyone for committee reports?
Just a quick comment.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
There was a ribbon cutting earlier for the mini pitch soccer fields. Had a personal reason I couldn't be there today, but I wanted to thank the staff personally for putting that together and for making sure that our residents had such a great amenity. The mayor was telling me that it was a great turnout, and want to publicly thank the staff, of course, and the U.S. Soccer Foundation, Griffin Catalyst, which is Ken Griffin, and of course the Children's Trust for putting that together and giving that to our residents at zero cost.
Yeah, I asked the group of kids there if they liked the courts, and my ears hurt after. So I think that's probably a good sign. Anyone else for committee reports? Seeing none. Next item.
Item 10, unfinished business, none this evening.
Next
Item
item.
11, new business agenda items.
Mayor, if I may, I am pulling 11A and 11C, and I'm modifying 11B. I'm removing,
When you're saying pooling, you're saying deferring A and C.
removing it from the agenda, sir.
Okay.
11A and 11C. And on 11B, I am moving the words of medical, dental, prescription, and vision from it.
All right. Let's do this first. Can I get a motion to defer to indefinitely defer items A and C?
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. A and C have been deferred. Let's take item B, read it, and then we'll work on amendments as needed.
Okay,
Read the
so
item.
item 11B, it's a resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami approving the recommendation from the Office of the City Manager to engage Brown & Brown Insurance as a provider for general liability and workers' compensation coverage for fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, authorizing the City Manager to execute necessary documentation and providing for an effective date.
All right, Mr. Manager, I know we've been working a while.
I'm sorry, I was listening, sidebar here.
No, I know we've been working a while on turning over every contract and seeing where there could find savings. So I know I asked you to requote everything, and including the insurance. So talk to me, give us some context on this item and what
On 11B, we're recommending going with Brown & Brown Insurance for general liability and workers' compensation, and removing the medical, dental, prescription, vision from this resolution. The reason why we picked this more than any other reason is for workers' compensation. Yes, the rates are less, but we did not have a workers' compensation through any agency. We actually were piggybacking off the Miami-Dade County's contract, which does not allow us to reach. If we would have had our own workers' comps for the last 10 years, we would be paying an additional 40% less in workers' comps insurance if we would have done it properly and follow procedures. The issue with this is now we're going to be starting from zero, and we're going to work our way up and be able to get a discount as the years go through. They were responsive. They've also found some deficits in some forms that we had not filled out and for over 2 years now on the diesel tank in the back that has to be done by the state. Again, it's just a continuation of things that have just not been, processes that have not been properly followed through on. So for that reason, we're recommending approval on them.
Does anyone on the board have any questions on this item for the manager?
And I have the Florida League of Cities here if you would like, have any questions of them, or they want to, if you have any questions of them.
I want to
Commissioner, go ahead.
clarify. I want to clarify something.
Go ahead.
This gentleman who was talking to you, who is,
He's from the Florida League of Cities.
he represent
He
the
represents,
Florida City.
yes, sir.
And
I mean,
then,
I'm sorry, he represents Brown and Brown.
Wait,
No, Florida League of Cities.
you represent the Florida City. Now, this is the recommendation to renew the program, right?
No, this is a recommendation to move to Brown and Brown for general liability and workman's comp.
This isn't medical.
No,
This is not
This is
medical.
not
I
medical.
want to clarify. You're recommending in this company, represent this gentleman, only the liability, right?
But I am recommending Commissioner Suarez to go with Brown and Brown for general liability and workman's comp,
Exclusive,
exclusive.
exclusive.
And the insurance is coming up later, but it'll be maintaining the same.
But this
Coverage.
recommendation is only for that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on the board?
Now, you represent, can you come over here? I want to clarify all this.
Yes, sir. I'm Michael Morrill. I'm with the Florida League of Cities. I'm the South Florida account manager for
And
the
what do you do with
FMIT.
Brown and Brown?
I'm not with Brown and Brown, sir. So
You are
I'm-
not?
I'm here because we currently insure the city of West Miami, and the recommendation is to move. However, after reviewing the proposal by Brown and Brown, there's some glaring differences between what we provided to city management and what they provided. So this year, the city went through a comprehensive asset appraisal, and it looks like Brown and Brown dismissed the updated values that the city currently has. So where we were going to be increasing values by upwards of 60%, they quoted the city at 7.9 million in total insurable value, and we are closer to 13 million in total insurable value with comparable premiums. So at the end of the day, the two proposals that you reviewed are not apples for apples, and we were never explicitly asked to quote workers' compensation this year. I think if given a little time, and if this was to be pushed until the next budget hearing, we could provide an apples for apples, and I would think Brown and Brown would need to update their values as well, because this is not the same quote.
If I can step in here. Mr. Manager, I know I've been working with you on this, and trying to move this along with multiple parties. Provide some context here because we've been working on this for quite a while, and, you know, coming to the last second now to push a meeting. Can we get some context?
What we provided to Brown and Brown was the exact same list that FMIT had. The insurance values are comparable. The issues all the way through are, the rates are within, and the coverage limits are within $50,000 of each one in every single category. We actually feel as a staff that what Brown and Brown is offering us is slightly better. And yes, that is true. At Workman's Comp, we found out was being done through the county, which, whatever the reason for that was, it was, but we believe that it's better if we had all our insurances combined, workers' comp and general liability. I don't, the lists are the same, the coverage is relatively the same in some areas. Brown and Brown were higher, and in some area FMIT was slightly higher. I stand by my recommendation of moving forward.
Okay. Does anyone else have any on the question of the board?
But I want to clarify something.
Go ahead.
The Florida League of Cities is making a better offer than Brown and Brown in general liability and workers' compensation?
Specifically in property, sir.
The question is the manager. Go ahead.
It's the opposite. In our opinion, the Brown and Brown proposal is slightly better than League of Cities. That is
For-
our opinion from a staff point of view. It also includes workman's comp that was never part of the Florida League of Cities. That was being handled by Miami-Dade County. So we were tied to their rates, which would actually really put us at an unfair competitive advantage, because if you look at our workers' compensation rates and the fact that we haven't had any major incidents in the last 6, 7, 8 years, we would have been entitled to a substantial reduction in that premium if it would have been done properly.
So we're talking now only general liability and workman comp.
General liability and workers' comp, yes, sir.
All right. Clarified.
Sorry.
You understood that?
We do that, yeah. We currently do that for the city. But what I was pointing out is that, Mayor, if you were to be hit by the big one, a Cat 5 storm, with this proposal from Brown & Brown, you're severely underinsured property-wise.
So I come from the property casualty space for many years, so I review the proposal. I disagree on the severe underinsurance. But again, questions from the board he's up here, questions to him or to management?
No, my question was about the Brown & Brown was making better offer for the general liability and workman compensation, right? That's your recommendation?
That is our recommendation, yes, sir, from the administration point of
Okay,
view.
I want to be clear, it's not you, it's Brown & Brown who make it the better, exclusive for general liability and workman
This
compensation.
is not for medical or dental or prescription.
All right,
Correct.
clear. Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for?
Yeah, just
Go
a
ahead.
quick question.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
So, Mr. Manager, we're, on that part, the liabilities were covered in the same scope as the current one.
Yes, they're slightly different in each one of the categories, but it's not a substantial.
But we would be covered in the
Yes,
event,
yes.
in any of these events.
And Brown & Brown's here if you want to ask them any
Yeah,
questions.
they're here as well.
Thank
Anyone
you.
has a question too? Would you like to speak? All right, go ahead.
While he's walking to the podium, can you reiterate again the workers' comp coverage, the difference between the league and Brown & Brown?
Well, it wasn't the league. For some reason, we had our workers' compensation insurance covered under the umbrella of Miami-Dade County. That means that we're at their rates, which their rates were at par. If we would have had our own workers' comp, and I'm sure that the Brown & Brown gentleman can explain this better than I can, we would have been entitled to substantial savings on that insurance policy because we've actually had a very safe record in terms of incidents or accidents, and we unfortunately have not taken advantage of that because we never really priced it out.
So, name and address for the record, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Alex Sanchez. I'm with Brown & Brown Insurance. Today we're delivering a proposal from the Preferred Governmental Insurance Trust, similar to the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust that you all are in currently. It is a insurance trust made up of municipality members exclusively. To address some of the comments made by the previous speaker, our proposal was prepared based off the current data, the current limits of the City of West Miami's existing insurance program. What I believe the gentleman from FMIT was referring to is that this year you all had a new replacement cost appraisal completed for the city properties, which increased your total insured value from 7.9 million to I believe 16 million is what the gentleman mentioned. As mentioned to the city manager and staff throughout our various meetings, this is something that Preferred, our insurance program, does in year 2 of every new member we bring on board. We have a third-party appraisal company that comes in and performs an in-depth appraisal of all city-owned property. So for the 2025 insurance renewal, that would be being implemented on new values. But just to, again, clarify another comment that was made, the property insurance that the City of West Miami has currently, as well as the property insurance that you will be renewing for this next term, is written on a blanket basis. So even though each building is designated with an individual limit, the full $7.9 million is available in the event of any claim. So unless we had a catastrophe that absolutely caused a total loss on every single building, which statistically is highly improbable, you do have sufficient property insurance coverage as it stands right now. With regards to the other lines of coverage, again, we quoted the property insurance, the general liability, public officials liability, law enforcement liability, your auto liability, as well as the physical damage coverage, cyber, workers' compensation, and a broad pollution policy. In total, this represents a $134,000 savings over your expiring program. So I understand that the renewal proposal that you've received from FMIT is based on new values, but just keep in mind, our total premium was $426,000, which is $134,000 less than what you were paying last year, and even about $80,000 less than what you had paid in 2022. So it's a very significant savings for the city, and again, an extremely comparable program. We had extensive meetings with the city manager and staff going through detailed coverage comparisons of the limits, deductibles, and the overall schedules of what is being insured. Any questions?
Talk about the cap tables. I know this was a concern of mine in terms of, where the risk profiles are for you guys and how that impacts our coverage.
Absolutely. So I won't speak to the Florida League of Cities reinsurance, but what I can tell you about the Preferred Governmental Insurance Trust is we purchase a reinsurance limit of $330 million, which exceeds, in the insurance world, the way that we evaluate risk for, let's say, an insurance company like this that has a large portfolio of property exposure in the state, you run what's called a 250-year model, a probable maximum loss model. So it basically returns an average over that period of time. If we had the worst possible storm that we could have, what is the amount of potential payout loss that could happen? So the $300 million limit that the preferred program purchases exceeds a 0.4% probability over that 250-year period. Again, in the 20 years since the Preferred Governmental Insurance Trust was founded in 1999, the largest loss that we've had in that time in the state has been $50 million. So again, nowhere near that total $330 million reinsurance capacity that's in place at the moment.
Does anyone have any questions for the speaker on this or for management?
No, I don't have any more questions. I know he's recommending them for general liability and workers' compensation. That's the clarification I want to be sure.
Correct. Medical would comment at a different, I'm assuming next meeting or whenever we have the quote finalized. Go ahead.
Just a comment. I'm by no means an insurance professional. That's you guys. All we can do is listen to what you say and then the recommendations of staff. We're saving $134,000 over the current program, and with your 250-year loss model, there's a less than 1% probability that we fall into that category of the uninsurable, right?
Correct.
In layman's terms. So to me, it's sufficient coverage, we're saving money, and then staff is recommending it, so I'll be in favor of moving this forward.
Perfect. If you want, I can also expand upon the comment that the city manager made regarding the workers' compensation insurance and some potential lost savings over the years, but again, for the sake of time, only if you want me to.
I second for the
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
general liability and workers' compensation.
Now,
exclusive.
the motion is as amended. This resolution includes medical, dental, prescription, and vision. You're motioning excluding medical, dental, prescription, and vision,
No,
correct?
my-
Motion as
Motion
amended.
excluding that from this.
Excluding that, only what is general liability and workers' compensation.
correct.
That's it.
So that's a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a second. All right, call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Emiliano Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item, was item D,
It was not
Yes.
removed. It was not,
No.
that one's not removed, Mayor.
I'm sorry?
That one's not been removed. It's 11A and 11C.
Okay, go ahead with item D.
Yes, item 11D, it's a resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami accepting the recommendation from the Office of the City Manager to renew the city's medical, dental, prescription, vision care programs from fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025 through the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust Program, providing for an effective date.
So I kept saying this next meeting, I seen it, I just didn't realize it was on this agenda. So this is with FMIT, this is medical, dental, prescription, vision. Mr. Manager, can we talk about the cost savings, what we've been able to report there?
Yes, for FMIT came back with we asked them to look at the number, at their numbers, and they came back with a price that's within our budget. They dropped their price 10%, a little bit over 10%. I've heard loud and clear from certain members of the commission that they did not want to change it this time without more information. So therefore, we're recommending to stay the course for one more year with FMIT and keep the same coverage from United Health.
Okay, so general liability, workers' comp, and health, we all found significant savings in, right, correct?
With the new things, we're saving, as you heard, $100 and something thousand on the general liability and workman's comp package, and we'll be saving this to where the proposal was, approximately 10%, which is $160,000 in general. We're saving $300,000 in insurance for this year.
Fantastic.
I want
right.
to comment something, Mayor.
Go ahead.
That this insurance company that we actually have has been excellent, very good through the years for everybody. So I move to approve this.
Okay, we have a motion.
Can I?
You want to hold your motion? Hold your motion for, okay, go ahead, Commissioner.
Just to be clear, as far as the medical insurance, we have the same coverage.
Same, yes.
Same. So nothing's changed.
Yes,
The only
yes.
thing that has changed is that they've extended a 10% reduction in premiums.
A 10% reduction from their original price for this year, correct.
Okay. It's good management, Mr. Manager. Thank you.
Motion?
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Blanes,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis,
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón.
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Yes, item 11E, this is a first reading, an ordinance of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami relating to methods of providing official publication notice, authorizing the use by the city official notice by publication on a publicly accessible website as provided by Florida law, providing for severability, codification, and an effective date.
This is the first reading. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Call the roll.
I apologize, who made the second?
Vice Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Next item.
Item F, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of West Miami, Florida, approving an interlocal agreement with Miami-Dade County relating to the publication of legal advertisements and public notices on Miami-Dade County's publicly accessible website, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date.
Does anybody need explanation on this? Further explanation?
No.
It's related to
Motion.
item E. We got a
This
motion?
is- Motion?
Yeah, we got a motion. We got a second by Commissioner Suarez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Hearing none. Next item.
Item 11G, request for mitigation of liens for code violations at the property located at 6457, 6459 Southwest 9th Street, West Miami, Florida, 33144, and owner FlySpace LLC.
Okay. Hello, name and address for the record.
Hello, Barbie Rodriguez, 11430 Southwest 132 Court, Miami, Florida, 33186, sorry. Okay, I'm here today because there are multiple citation violations on this property, and through my research, we've come to learn that the violations are not supported. Apparently, the inspector that is no longer there, but I was told that the prior tenant was friends with the, acquainted with the inspector that posted these violations. That set aside, the city themselves, Ivan Picado, sent out 2 different inspectors to check on this property, and the results came back that the dwelling is a 2-family dwelling, it's legal, it's zoned R5, and they found no evidence of any subdivision, multifamilies, being divided up more as these citations, multifamily citation, construction without permit, building permits. Each of them, they showed no structure upgrade, no interior work done, no evidence it was subdivided. and it is legally zoned R5 and is properly posted on the property appraiser's website. And it is a two-family dwelling. So I'm here today to ask that those fines be removed since there is no substantial evidence showing that they existed to begin
All
with.
right, there's a lot to unpack there. The R5 zoning, R5 meaning like future land use R5, because R5 is not a,
It's a multifamily zoning.
no, we don't have an R5 that's, what is the property zoned?
Let me give you a little bit of history.
Yeah,
here
let's get some
because I was
context here.
asked
Let's get
to
some
do
context
that.
and then we'll get to questions. Go
On
ahead.
Okay.
February the 28th of 2022, this is a couple of code compliance inspectors ago, there was two tickets issued, 1043 and 1044.
I'm sorry, what was the date again? I'm sorry?
February the 28th of 22.
Okay, go ahead.
There was an AC replacement with no permit. That one's is, and no permit has been pulled since that date, so that one, as far as we're concerned, is still valid. There was another.
That's for an AC. That's for
That's for an
AC.
AC replacement,
Okay.
yes, sir. Item 1044 was a couple of phone calls on numerous occasions on the tenant. They had a nuisance with a dog that got out from the property and killed some neighboring cats. That was a nuisance dog. In the code compliance, that one went in front of the code compliance, I'm sorry, it was before February 28th, 22, that's when it went in front of the code compliance board. She is correct that on the ones that were from 5/23/22, we did send out our permit, our inspector, which was Frank Alonso, and there was no, in those three, we recommend withdrawal because there is no proof. There was no pictures in the file, there was no written stuff. In fact, it was written in what we estimate not in the proper fashion because it was based on complaints and not based on actual visual inspection of the job. So those three items, we do recommend removal, but we still have the first two that are still there.
So the first two, just to clarify, or the only two, if we go with the recommendations for removal, which I think sounds reasonable, is the AC permit and the nuisance.
That is correct.
Okay.
The first two citations is for operating multifamily. Which first two? I could go by case number because I have down operating multifamily was the first one and the subdivision was the second, and that's not.
Those are the ones that we're recommending removal, ma'am.
Okay.
What we're maintaining is still there. It was an AC replacement with no permit pulled, and there was a nuisance on a dog that got out and killed a couple of cats, and there's actually the police record on that one.
Okay,
Right,
so, I'm sorry,
sorry.
if I could. So, let's work backwards. So what is, for the two violations, the AC and the nuisance, what is the total amount that's requested to be mitigated?
The request is it's never been mitigated at the code board, but it's $25,900 for the AC and $7,400 for the nuisance dog.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
go ahead.
you said that there was a dog that got loose and it killed two cats?
That is
Two pet
correct.
cats?
That is correct.
Is it
Has there
tenant?
been any criminality, any charges
There was a
brought up
poli-
against the dog owner?
Commissioner, I know that there was a police report. I don't know. This is way before my time, and I just came up to speed on this today.
I see the police chief, you want to add something to this, chief? Because I think this is something that's pretty significant.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, how irresponsible can you be to let out a dog, a vicious
No, I
dog?
agree. This was the tenant.
And to
See,
kill two pet cats,
fly-
two pet cats.
Right.
We need to know more about that.
Right. And it
I
was
didn't know anything about it, so
Hold on, Commissioner,
I would
if we
like
can,
to-
if we can get the chief to answer your
I would
question.
like to know
Good
more
evening,
about
Mayor,
this.
Vice Mayor, Commission. The police report was generated and animal control was called to the scene, and they went ahead and they cited the owner criminally,
So,
or the tenant.
The
The
tenant.
tenant.
so,
It was a tenant, it wasn't the owner.
okay, so it was the tenant?
Yes.
Okay. So it was your tenant?
Because neighbors were complaining about her dog, and she is the one that complained about the violations, and that's how we started finding everything out. Then I have her name and
Okay, so you went forward and evicted the tenant was cited criminally. Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about the AC permit. So there's no permit pulled yet? What's going on with that? Talk to me about that.
I don't have anything on that because they said there was no structural upgrades, and I had asked about that, and they said there was no AC put into it. so I don't have any background on regarding any permit being pulled. It might have been pulled prior to this owner, because this owner bought the property, that we're having these violations come up shortly after he bought the property.
I'm sorry, who's the owner in relation
The
to you?
company, okay, sorry. The company's name is Fly Space LLC,
Okay.
and he purchased it, I believe in June of '21.
The June of '21 is when the current owner purchased the property, and this AC permit has been out before that? There's an issue here because we have reoccupancy certificates here. And there's, you're not supposed to be able to close on the house with these liens and with these, so there's an issue. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yes, and you're right. The one for the AC, he says is 2021, sorry, probably the wrong one, 1043. They put no structure. I have here that it was for AC and condenser, and I found it, yeah. This one's dated, but it's a notice in February of 2022.
Okay,
I
well,
don't see-
Mr. Manager, what's your recommendation so we can work from there?
Sorry, and you're representing them?
Yeah, can you clarify that? I mean,
Yes,
We're not sure.
Yes, I am, okay, so I am a paralegal title closer, and I was doing the research for them, and the attorney that we hired had to back out today because of personal reasons, so they gave me power of attorney to represent, since I did everything today, to come in front of you, because we had this hearing, and we couldn't get, I didn't want to not show up, so
so
that's what
you
happened.
have power, you have a power of attorney, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Mayor, what we want is always what we always want in these code compliance cases, is we want them to fully comply, pull a permit. Obviously, we have a lot of substantial work and a lot of all this stuff, so there has to be some sort of cost recovery here. We do understand that the dog and the nuisance was a tenant and had nothing to do with the current corporation that owns the property, so we'd say 30 days and $2,500, but we need to ensure that it is pulled and inspected by that time, and if not, we would request that the fine comes back.
Is that, is that,
For the air conditioner we're talking about, right?
that's,
Well-
the mitigation is talking total.
It would be in total, it's for the nuisance of the dog, and it's,
But we're talking
we
about
are walking
ensuring
away from
compliance
the
on
other
that,
three.
on the permit. I'm sorry, we're ensuring compliance on the permit. So you say there isn't, we say there is, pull the permit or we get the inspection cleared.
Okay,
It's a
so pull
contingency.
the permit, get the inspection cleared.
Correct.
And resolve it and put it on paper.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. And then regarding the dog citation, has that been removed as well, since we went ahead and removed?
The recommendation from management, and we'll talk to the board now, but the recommendation from management is $2,500
yes, sir.
total on the mitigation for all the violations.
Thank
all right.
you.
Well, I don't say that yet. Where's the, any comments from the board on this?
Well, I just had a question because
ahead.
this organization, I don't think it's currently registered in the state of Florida.
It's a Delaware corporation.
Oh, okay, because it's not currently on Sunbiz.
No, it's a Delaware company.
So they have an anonymous corporation. Yeah, that's what they do in Delaware.
Yeah. And I, the dog thing, I know that they're no longer living at the property, but that's very serious. That's
No,
not
yeah,
to be taken
That's why
lightly,
they were asked
you know?
to leave. They took it over and everything was happening.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, that is why she started acting out and wouldn't leave, and she had to get evicted, and it took months and months and months.
So to clarify, the tenant was evicted. This is all factual, right?
Yes.
Tenant was evicted,
Mhm.
and we criminally, or someone, we or the county
Yeah.
criminally cited a tenant that has now been evicted.
When were they evicted? What year? This is back in
That-
2021.
Right. From my understanding, they started it sometime September, October, and I think it took till March, April of the following year. Because they had to do this notice, and then they had to get the sheriff and everything else. I just don't have it.
Okay. Does anyone have any other
She
questions?
refused to pay because she had to leave because of the dog.
Does anyone have any questions from the board?
So who's managing this property?
And who
They
lives there?
hired a company called MSM Management now, and they're just trying to clean all of this up. It's not like,
So-
they're
so-
trying to make it right.
So we got a Delaware corporation that owns this house.
Yeah, but we
This
can't
property.
take that into account on
And-
this.
And now we have, where's this management company from? Is it local?
Yes. They're in Coral Gables.
They're what?
Coral Gables.
They're in Coral Gables.
Yes, sir.
Is there a tenant there now?
Yes, sir. That
And-
both of your inspectors have on the report.
And is being managed by this management?
Yes,
management
everything has been clear
Management
since
company in
this-
Coral Gables?
Mm-hmm. They even paid the garbage bill, that's on.
What was the total amount of the fine, Mr. Manager?
The total amount exclusive, well, the total amount for all 5 citations grew to $309,000. These two combined were $37,300.
Well, I recommend double of what the city manager is offering. I make a motion that they be penalized $5,000 versus $2,500.
That's inclusive of the, that's for the 2 violations of the dog and the AC.
Yeah, just for those two.
Can I ask another question? I
Go
know we
ahead.
have a motion
Go
on
ahead.
the table, but.
Hold your motion. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Vice Mayor.
so I know that we're letting go of the first 3 citations, and one of them was for multifamily use, and I know this is zoned a duplex. Do we have any report on the citation? Was it because there was multifamilies living in each duplex, or is it because the citation was issued as if it shouldn't have been used as a multifamily, but it was a duplex? I don't know. if
Vice
I'm
Mayor, unfortunately, we
clear.
have, the records show that the citations were posted based on the complaint, not based on any evidence that the code compliance officer at that time found.
So the officer never went out and verified if the
He
property was.
he could not verify it, Vice Mayor.
He could not verify.
You know,
Okay.
basically, you know, this is a business. You have a corporation that owns this property, and now you have a management company. The only way that the owners of this corporation are going to take note is if their pocketbook is
I
hit.
understand, and that's
So,
what's
you know what,
changed.
that's what we're
But
going to
that's
do.
what's changed. This
That's what we're
owner
going to do, and if
has
it
taken-
happens again, it will be more severe.
Understood,
Okay.
and that's what we're trying to
All right,
clarify.
because,
They
you
took
know,
on this
we
management
sit here to
company.
provide the best possible quality of life
Mhm.
to the residents that live near, adjacent to this property.
Mhm.
Okay? So, you know, you need to impress upon these owners that they need to be more responsible, that they need to do more background checks, you know, they need to, I don't know. They
No, I
just-
understand.
you know-
This situation was there before they took title to the property, this dog situation. So that's why, and then they brought on this management company. So that's why they're trying to clean it up. They're trying to make things right.
So
Well,
I-
nonetheless, I still stand by my motion.
Understood. Let's move forward with this item. I do want to, Mr. Manager, I do want to investigate how this property transferred hands with these liens. So I do want to see how that fell through the cracks. So if we can, we'll have a conversation after, you know, following this property. Not because of this property, but just making sure that going forward, we have,
Oh,
this doesn't happen.
you know, what we need to impress upon these new owners, you know, they're a Delaware company, that, you know, if they don't,
Well, they might be from
if
Florida.
they don't
They
do
just
what
have
they're
the company
supposed to,
registered.
they're gonna get hit. They're gonna get hit really hard. So going forward, that's what's gonna happen.
Okay, your
So-
motion's for 5,000 inclusive. Go ahead, Vice
I'll
Mayor.
second it.
You have a motion and a second. Hold on, we can't, hold on, I'm not gonna call this again. 30 days, is 30 days sufficient for payment?
For payment?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And pending the permit.
And contingent on the permit, on that being cleared.
Yes, I'll have to get back.
Can we,
we'll
can,
file
can,
for the
can,
permit and see an
yeah,
extension, because that's always up to the permit.
well, actually, let's not, I don't want to come back with this. Is 30 days sufficient for them to go to the permit and us to inspect?
'Cause-
That is, yes, it
Yeah?
will be, and I will make sure it's expedited.
Okay.
Yeah, our building department.
Read the
pretty much turns
resolution,
around.
please.
You know what we go through.
Yeah, read the resolution, please.
Item 11H, resolution of Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of $5,000 from Fly Space LLC on code enforcement liens for code violations at the property located at 6457, 6459 Southwest 9th Street, West Miami, Florida, providing that if payment in full is not paid in 30 days, then the amount owed shall revert to the original lien amount, providing for an effective date. Motion by
We
Commissioner
have
Blanes.
we have a motion by
second
Commissioner Blanes, inclusive of the
second by Vice
contingency,
Mayor. Yes.
and a second by Vice Mayor
Leon
Leonorbis.
Orbis. On the vote, on the motion, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes,
5-0, item passes.
thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
thank you. Next item.
Next item, item 11I, request for mitigation of lien related to code violations by Waste Services of Florida Incorporated, now known as Waste Connections of Florida Incorporated.
Mr. Manager? Oh, hello. How
Hello,
are you?
good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be before you this evening. Maritza Hara with offices at 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, here on behalf of Waste Services of Florida, Inc., respectfully requesting your approval of the proposed mitigation of a lien that originated in 2017 as a result of a clerical error. I can give you a little bit more background now or defer to the city manager as you wish.
Mr. Manager?
This was a clerical error. They did not pull their license 1 year. They pulled it and paid all their franchise fees prior to and after that. And this is just basically a clerical error on their part when they were changing names is my take on this. And for that, I have agreed to accept a mitigation offer of $6,000, which is what I would propose to the board. And they've said that that's fine because that pretty much equals what their franchise fee would have been. And they have been good corporate citizens paying prior and afterwards. So I have no issues. This is
Well,
clearly an oversight.
Did Waste Connections miss any franchise fees?
No, no franchise fees were ever missed. This was really just the occupational license, which is $100 a
Yeah.
year. We have we have record of a check being written but never cashed. So it seems it was really just an oversight.
So just to clarify, this is a business license that was previously, you had business licenses, it was missed 1 year and continued the next couple of years with business licenses.
Correct.
Franchise fees were never not paid?
Never not paid.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. The board, does anyone have any questions from the board?
So,
Just for clarity, how much are the franchise fees?
They are about $7,000 per year.
And the
600 per
occupational
month.
license, you said it was 100?
$100 a year. It really was, they were paying the franchise fees. It was obviously an oversight, a clerical error that, the check, the application form might have been misplaced that 1 year. And then we didn't really actually receive actual notice of the violation. And then it went to your code enforcement board. A lien was filed. We were not aware until earlier this year. It came up on a lien search for one of their properties. And so, of course, we were engaged to come before you, mitigate the lien, and request its release.
I think it's clear you were paying $7,000 a year, you didn't miss that payment, so you weren't going to skip out on $100.
Yeah.
It's clear that it was an error.
Well, somebody fell asleep.
I think so.
Somebody forgot.
Does anybody else have any questions for this? Pretty straightforward.
motion.
Second.
Well, read the resolution first.
Period to pay the $6,000.
30 days?
Yes.
30 days.
Okay, item J, resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of $6,000 from Waste Services of Florida Incorporated, now known as Waste Connections of Florida Incorporated, on code enforcement lien for code violation, providing that if payment in full is not paid in 3 days, then the amount owed shall revert to the original lien amount, providing for an effective date.
You have a motion?
I made a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
By the Vice Mayor.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
You part of the corporation or you are a councilor?
I'm an attorney.
You're not attorney?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Strange case.
Go ahead.
Yes, item 11K, resolution of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to execute a lease and maintenance agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management Incorporated for the replacement of police department vehicles using Sourcewell cooperative bid pricing, providing for an effective date.
Chief?
Good evening again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. The Enterprise leasing is a program where the city or the police department enters into a 5-year lease program. They currently take whatever vehicles we have that are the older vehicles. We trade them in, they sell them, they send us a check. That first year, whatever the payment is to Enterprise for the fully equipped 10 vehicles that we're getting is zero, because the money that they sold it for, we have it, so that's going to absorb the first year. Whatever money's left over in residual from that first year is then used in the second year to absorb some of the cost of the leasing. Just to give you some perspective, a brand-new vehicle right now for us, an SUV, fully equipped, is $65,000. The cost of 2 vehicles is $130,000. So if we were having to pay $130,000, we'd rather get 10 vehicles for that price than to get 2. And be it that the first year is going to be 0 and the second year is going to be half of that cost, it makes perfect sense. At the end of the 5-year term, we, the city, can purchase the vehicles back from Enterprise for the price of $1.
Okay.
There's a couple other things I'd like to add to the
Yeah,
record.
Yes.
Mr. Manager, add some more context, and we'll go to the board of questions. Go ahead.
The rule of thumb on a police officer car is 100,000 miles. We put in around 16 to 18,000 a year, so we can probably get 6 years out of these cars. So even that last year, we probably would keep the car. That said, there's a couple other savings that comes with this program. Number one is maintenance. These are brand new cars compared to the ones that we have now, and we have had some serious issues with some of the Chargers and some of the sedans that continuously break down on us, so we'll have some savings on the maintenance side. And lastly, we'll also have a little bit of residual savings on gasoline, since these are newer cars. They're more fuel efficient than the ones that we have now. What convinced me on this program was the fact that we can buy these cars at the end of 5 years at $1 each, and then at that time, we can assess whether we want to keep them or if we want to repeat the program.
Okay. So questions from the board?
So basically, let's say that we have 2, 3 vehicles that we want to keep because they got low miles.
Yes.
So we can do that.
Yes.
And at the end of 5 years, it will cost $1.
Yes.
And then for the rest of them that have the high mileage, we just turn them in and
We
start the program.
turn them in and start the program
over again.
Correct.
I don't know why we didn't do that before. Too good to be true. I mean, it sounds too good to be true, but it is.
That's factual.
And there's other cities that are doing this?
Yes, Pinecrest, Aventura, North Miami, Opelika.
Is this
just
a
to
new
name a few.
program? Did it just come out?
So the police vehicle program has been going on now, the leasing program, for about 9 years. So it's been there for a while. They started initially with commercial vehicles, and then they went ahead and expanded it to police cars.
Wow. Again, Mr. Manager, a good move, and we thank you for it.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Commissioner.
Do you have a question? Go ahead. You have a question?
So it's less maintenance because they're new vehicles, but how many years of that 5-year term is actually, is the maintenance provided by the dealership?
What is the warranty on the new cars?
The warranty on the new cars, so included in that price, believe it or not, it sounds ridiculous, but it's $6 to participate in the program. So whatever your regular maintenance cost is covered by one of their shops for the first 3 years.
Now, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Normally, they give you 3 years of 3 years of 36,000 miles. That's an average, right?
Yes,
Now, after the 5th year,
yes.
so the first year was, after the 5th year, it's a car, it's a low mileage, and I think somebody made the question. We can keep that car for 1 or 2 more years for $1?
Yes, you can. And part of this program is there's no cap on the mileage. So like a conventional lease that we all have for our personal vehicles, where you have, 3 years, 36,000 miles or more, if you pay for more, there's no mileage cap on these cars.
Suppose we have a car in the 3rd or 4th year that we went over 100,000 miles in case, and we want to to do the operation, you don't do the change.
Yes.
Can we do it
We can.
separately? Or
Yes.
we have to wait for the whole fleet?
We can do them separately.
Separately?
Yes,
As an enterprise program?
yes.
And again,
We're not tied to them for the full 5 years.
No.
We can opt out at any time.
and they're fully equipped,
Yes, cages, light bars, computer mounts,
everything.
you name it, striping, everything.
Wow. Man,
Vice Mayor?
that's a wonderful
Nope.
thing.
I'm ready to move it.
Okay. We have a motion by the Vice Mayor.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll?
Yes, Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milan Orbis,
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón.
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Yes, next item is a public hearing. It's a tentative budget fiscal year 2024-2025 submittal. Item 11L is a submission of the tentative city budget for fiscal year 2024-2025 by city manager.
Give me 1 second, I'm trying to find the clicker and get the
Sure.
slide presentation going.
Was it provided to you?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, and residents. This is our first official budget hearing of 2024-25. And this is where we are, September the 10th. It's our first budget hearing, which gives us final numbers and modifications as requested from our workshop that we had on the 28th of August. Again, I'm going to reiterate that right now, our property values, according to Redfin, for a regular house in city of West Miami is $827,000, but our medium taxable value is $218,000. That shows you that there is a substantial amount of homesteaded homes in our community, and that is borne by the fact that there is 57% of our houses are homesteaded, which keeps the medium taxable value low. Some of the information. We are projected to have an 8.2% property taxable value increase this year. It's important to note that this number is the lowest increase in all of the county. All the other municipalities are higher than us.
And the lowest increase, just to clarify, that's because of new development, right? Lack of new development.
There's a combinations, but the biggest one is there's very little new development that's happening in the city of West Miami. Some other historical stuff that we talked about at the last meeting, but that is probably the primary one. However, if you look at the tax revenues continuously are increasing on a year-to-year basis, and that's positive, and we don't foresee that changing since the medium taxable value is so low. We're insulated from any changes in the well, short of a major crash, but we're insulated on any future downturn in terms of those revenues. Again, this is showing what our medium taxable is, and it shows an increase. Our millage rate comparison, we have been able to bring our millage rate down 30% since the high water mark of 8.495. Translated at our medium taxable income now, that is a substantial savings to each resident of at least $576 annually from the high water mark of 8.495. How are your taxes divided? Because everybody thinks they get the tax bill, and they believe that tax bill is coming out of the city of West Miami. That could be further from the truth. In fact, 37% of every tax dollar goes to the county, 31% goes to the public school board, and we are third at 28%. So an average tax assessment based on the medium taxable income is $4,288. What we receive, our portion of the tax bill, is $1,293. We use that money to divide it and pay, and if you divide that money by department, you will see that the lion's share of that goes to public safety and general government, and everybody else is substantially less on a monthly basis. Organizational chart, Last year, we showed 107 employees. This year, we're putting 110 employees on the roster. We're adding 2 police officers and 1 receptionist to respond to some of the criticisms that we're not answering the phones on time. We never had, it's time for us to do that. We were having our passport people double up and do that, but since passports are so busy, they have not been able to keep up with the phone calls. The proposed general fund, here's the revenue projection side. We are projecting between property tax, franchise fees, excise tax, state revenues, and so on. You can read them yourselves, but we're showing that we're proposing an available revenue stream for next year of $11,473,000. From that, the projected revenues, you can see where they come. Ad valorem, the ad valorem is probably the biggest portion of that pie for our things. It's about 36% of our overall revenue stream. Parks and Recreation, as you all know, since 1953, there was an ordinance passed that every 1 mil of the tax bill goes to the Parks and Recreation. And that's our total revenues that we believe we're going to be receiving this year, which is $1,876,000. We are looking at parks. We do believe that there is a better way of doing park fees, and we'll discuss this as this goes on. It's just for reference points of view. We believe that we can start walking away from that 1 mil that we're putting into the Parks and Rec Center, especially when the multi-generational center is online, because that could pretty much self-sustain itself. So let's go back to the general funds and the department by department. The city commission's at $159,218. The city clerk's at $155. Attorney's office is $137,500. The executive department is $730,000 with a couple of changes. We moved the chief of staff over to our department, and we're also putting the receptionist here so that she can work with us and answer all the phone calls and direct our residents to where they need to go. Finance is at $544,000. Passports is $245,000. Communications and information technology is, we moved the deputy manager out of here and put him in the executive, so that's why you see a drop in this department. Public safety, although we're adding 2 police officers, including their contracted amounts of their raises, it's only gone up slightly to $3,549,000. In this year, their contract is up. We will start union negotiations probably in April, May, and hopefully conclude that amicably as we go on, and we'll be bringing this back to the commission at that time. You have fleet management, the public works facilities, and we went through this at the 28th. You have it in front of you. You can go through it. We have general government, which is where we put our insurance, and you can see the savings that are booked in here. We're also showing a slight increase in some other items, such as the accounting and auditing, because we want to make sure that we properly do that. We're actually posting the correct expenditure levels on some other items that were not done so in the past. And then the breakdown of taxes by department is here. And then the Parks and Rec expenditures are here, and you'll see that that pretty much balances. And this is our seasonal workers along with our full-time workers in parks. And so the lion's share of Parks and Rec is done by part-timers or seasonal workers. Now we're going to talk about the enterprise and fee-based funds. And we will start with the revenue projections for water. We have a major increase in water from Miami-Dade Water and Sewer. They have been raising their water fees on a continuous basis, and the last time that we ever showed a fee increase in water was in 2009. In fact, our ordinances clearly state that our enterprise funds should cover themselves. They're all fee-based, and they should cover themselves, and they should not actually be borrowing from the general fund. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. Same deal with Sewer 1 and Sewer 2. Sanitation has not had an increase since 2011. As a point of reference, Miami-Dade County just raised their sanitation fee to $691 annually. We are substantially, even with the proposal that we're going to be bringing forth, we will be substantially below the county's average for this. Community development is here. Surtax, which is the half-penny sales tax, is pretty much fine. They do owe general a little bit of money, but not substantial. And on the expenditure side, you can see the expenditure sides here and what we project for sanitation. As a point of reference, we collect about $610,000 currently in sanitation, but our expenditures far exceed that number. Stormwater is here. Stormwater is basically okay. Then we have the water projections, which they just sent us their water, the price for water, which has substantially gone up, as has the sewer side from Miami-Dade County, what they charge us. Community development is basically balancing. Surtax, CITT funds will also balance, but that's also due to the fact that we were able to salvage a grant from the TPO for the freebie, and allows us to continue using the freebies. So if you look now at our debt service, as I talked about on the 28th, we have very little debt. Less than 1% of our general fund revenues is debt, which is outstanding, and I think that is something that we would like to be able to work on and try to zero that out as soon as we possibly can. Overall expenditures by fund, 37% of our overall expenditures goes to general parks. 43% is capital, which is mostly grant driven. Thanks to the efforts of this mayor and this commission, we've been able to get substantial amount of monies on grants. This is a comparison of all the funds. We are showing that we are moving into the new fiscal year, and we are projecting a $500,000 surplus at the end of next year. Capital project timeline, we went through this list last time. This is the 5-year capital improvement project plan, which is basically, obviously, heavily on water line replacement and our multi-generational building that's well under construction. If you went to the mini pitch soccer grand opening today, you saw that they're already starting to raise the block, and it's starting to really take shape. These are all the projects that we have that are upline, and then again a breakdown on where we're getting the funding and for the multi-generational center and how it's being funded. The same with the water project, which is all basically grants and or rec fund monies. These are some smaller grants that we have that we're working on and will be completing this year. And again, our funding priorities is to complete the multi-generational recreation center, do our first dog park. We have relaunched our access channel. As you all well know, we were down for 5 years, and we got that channel up and running again just in time for the last meeting. We want to complete some of the storm drainage projects that we have promised. We need to fix our comprehensive and zoning codes. We're out of compliance. We've been out of compliance for over 2 years. We have to bring it up to date to be in compliance with the state. We want to complete our water line replacement projects. As I said, this budget is crafted on adding 2 police officers to the roster. We need to really have a hard, deep dive into enterprise funds. They need to be self-sufficient. We added a component for art in public places that passed first reading at the last meeting, and that is for us to be able to bring in art, not at the expense of the taxpayers, but at the expense of the developers that come in here that will give a percentage of their costs to be able to put in art in public places. And we also want to try to look at and work with FDOT to replace our tree canopy from palm trees to either oaks or mahoganies or other, some natural native along 8th Street to give us a nice appearance for our community. And with that, our proposed millage rate that we're proposing tonight is a slight reduction from 5.95 to 5.92. I remind you what rollback is, which is 5.5530. And with that, I'm open for any questions.
Let's, this is submission. Let's take questions after, after item M. Read item M. Well, first of all, let's accept the submission. Just, motion to accept the submission of the budget, which is clerical.
Motion.
Motion. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, next item.
Item 11M, this is a public hearing on the tentative city budget for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Public hearing is now open. Anyone who wishes to speak on this item, speak now. Name and
Good evening
address
again,
record.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the City Commission. Yolanda Aguilar, 6404 Southwest 12th Street. I'd like to go on record to re-emphasize what I stated in my letter to the manager on September 7th. You're benefiting by a reduction of the millage rate. You're benefiting your commercial area more so than you are your residents. Additionally, with the water rate increase, and I want to thank the city manager on this one for publicly stating that he's going to increase water fees by 15%. At a minimum, I'll calculate it with sewers, about 20%, and probably another $100 on the garbage fee, which is something you all did not allow your former administration to do under any circumstances. What changed? Maybe it's because you have a male city manager sitting there at the podium, but whatever happened, I commend you and applaud you for it because it was necessary. I regret the fact that you're going to do it all at once instead of a gradual increase. You may want to keep a gradual increase as a second option. So those are just my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda.
Any other public comments?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Public hearing is now closed. Questions to the manager. Do you have questions to the manager or statements on the manager on the budget submission?
I just have a comment.
Go ahead.
Or a question. Thank you, Mr. Manager. It was a great presentation. I appreciate it. Between now and our final budget hearing, I'd like for you to review again and see if we can achieve any savings or a reduction on the fees for our residents.
Yeah, so we have some things I've been talking to the manager for about a week on that are I think very helpful in protecting residents. Any other comments on the record for this?
I'll just say it's clear that this commission over the last couple of years has been making decisions with residents in mind at the center of the decision making. We've lowered the millage rate over the last couple of years to the lowest it's been in 30 years. We didn't do that for no particular reason. We did it because we know that the residents right now are going through tough times economically. So we do have the residents at the forefront of our thought processes. This budget also reflects a lot of other needs that the residents have and needs that they want. We sit up here as representatives of the residents and we hear their complaints, we hear their thank yous, and this budget exemplifies a lot of what the residents want. Increased public safety, increased green spaces, increased amenities. We're trying to balance this out and doing the best that we can. It is a juggling act, but make no mistake that the residents are our main focus and the only thing that is important to us when we make decisions.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else for questions of the manager on the budget submittal? I know you guys have probably spent a lot of time already talking about this budget with the manager, but any other questions that I'd like to put out now? So I'll just, my biggest thing is on capital projects. We've probably done more capital projects in a short amount of time than I've seen any other city do. We've accomplished a whole lot. I mean, I started forgetting things when we were going through this, the state of the city last year, and when I started writing it down, that speech actually was just basically a list at that point. So I'm very proud of all the different things, and we're hitting every aspect of residents, from the new resident to the resident who's been here 40, 50 years. My goal is to try to solve problems that the residents who have been here 30, 40, 50 years have had for 30, 40, 50 years. So we're doing that, whether it's in drainage or new problems like speed that have just become a problem for every neighborhood, especially a centrally located as ours. So I'm excited what our next step is. Our next step, which includes solving kind of want to have things instead of need to have things. For example, dog parks is something that we've heard a lot about, the need for, while still solving the things that we need to do with the potable water, with drainage, with all the sort of speed reduction that we're going to be doing across the whole corridors, while continuing to beautify the city. I mean, I'm excited for what's to come. Obviously, nobody likes to touch fees less than me, but I'm probably in human history, but I think the plan that we've come up with is conservative, protective, especially the most vulnerable in our community. So I think I commend you on this document, and hopefully we can move forward with capital projects at an accelerated rate, because I want to see good things in the ground as fast as possible, so the residents can enjoy. Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I forgot to say something in my presentation when we talked about the enterprise funds and those fees. In discussions with you and with the rest of the commission, what we have crafted in that, I want to assure our residents is that we're going to have a 3-tier enterprise fund. We are protecting the most vulnerable in our community, our seniors, by giving them a discount which will really minimize any increases whatsoever to them, and we have looked hard at trying to hit the commercial side so it doesn't affect our residents as well. And I forgot to mention that when I was doing my presentation.
Yeah, and there's some other things that we're cooking up that will be very beneficial to the residents. Does anyone else have anything for the manager? Go ahead.
As someone that has sat here for quite a while and has seen a lot of things happen, a lot of good things, and a lot of things that should have been done that were not done. I want to thank the manager, the new administration, everyone here for putting in the amount of work and the amount of effort that's been put forth. As a commissioner, I tend to get, I've always had a pretty good pulse on the residents, their feelings, their wants and nots, and I tend to get a lot of complaints, mainly because I act on them, and I try to resolve their issues, and I try to give them the service that they deserve and the attention. And I like to say that, and I'm very happy to say that everyone that I have talked to is very satisfied beyond expectations. In a very short period of time, we've moved forward and we've done quite a lot. And I can't wait till we continue in this path. And I'm excited. I think with the new recreational facility that's going to add a dimension and a service to generations to come. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, I thank you, Mr. Manager, for your leadership and the leadership of the staff. Every one of you, you know who you are. I thank you. The residents thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else for comments on this? Seeing none, do we need a motion? We don't need a motion on that. That was public hearing. Item N.
Item N, resolution of the City of West Miami, Florida, establishing the 2024 tentative millage rates upon all real and personal property within the city limits for the payment of the amount appropriated in the 2024-2025 tentative budget.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
This is Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milan Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item O, resolution of the City of West Miami, Florida, adopting the 2024-2025 tentative budget.
You have a motion?
Motion.
You have a motion?
Second.
You have a second? Call the roll.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item P, resolution of the City of West Miami, Florida, adopting the tentative Water Enterprise Fund budget for the year 2024-2025 in the sum of $1,909,456.
Motion.
You have a motion?
Second.
You have a motion and a second?
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item Q, initiative to create a committee for the development of a City of West Miami slogan and a brand mascot aimed at enhancing community pride and promoting the city's values, culture, and appeal to residents and visitors.
Commissioner Chavez,
This
your
is
item?
sponsored
Oh,
by Commissioner Chavez Jr.
Commissioner Chavez, your item?
Yeah, so there's a lot of exciting things coming to the community. The manager spoke on bringing art to the community, green spaces, entrance areas with trees and landscaping. So the idea with this is just to kind of put an umbrella, a committee that has representatives of the community that can make sure that the identity of the city is kind of, there's a consensus built there to go in a certain direction. You look at cities like South Miami, Coral Gables, they have slogans. South Miami, I think, is the City of Pleasant Living. Gables is City Beautiful. There's been residents that have come to me saying that they want to see a slogan, start to create an identity in the city, create a logo per se. So I think all of these things can be sent to this committee and make sure that when we bring the artwork to the city, when we bring certain landscape to the entranceways of our cities, that we kind of maintain a certain identity and the residents have input in that.
Well, I have a slogan for you. How about the city of more pleasant living?
That sounds good.
Motion.
The city more beautiful.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
This actually was like...
Is this not a
It's okay.
resolution?
No, it's not. It's just his initiative, but if you want me to call the roll, it's okay.
Is there, well, I mean, you don't have to call the, I mean, what's the action item here?
Just to blessing by this commission.
But I'm assuming are you going to bring another item for the
So-
like create a committee selection and stuff?
Yeah,
So
all right.
Mayor, yes, in conversations with Commissioner Chavez, and I wholeheartedly agree with this, is more of a placemaking to give us an identity.
Okay.
And to prioritize that, we will bring back a resolution to name how are we going to name the board, and we're going to move forward and try to define
Sure.
exactly their scope.
Okay. All right, well, you have a blessing on that. Next item?
Item 12, this is the consent agenda items, and we have one item before you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners.
I want you to pull it and read it, please.
Yes, item 12A, resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami allowing the city manager to enter into and execute a contract with Red Speed Florida LLC for the operation and maintenance of red light cameras and the school zone speed program, providing for an effective date.
This item is part of the regular agenda and is not a consent agenda item. And per statute, this is the public comment period for this item. Public comment is now open on this item for anyone who wishes to speak on this item. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone wishing to speak?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Public hearing is now closed. Public comment is now closed on this item. Back to the board. Do we have a motion on this?
Motion.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
These cameras are going to install in Sylvania High, right, in 16th Street?
I'm sorry?
The cameras are going to be installed in the 16th Street
That's our only school zone,
by
yeah.
the Sylvania, right?
Yeah.
Now, the timing for the function is going to be only the time that children are crossing, from 9 to 11 or from 1 to 3.
We have a representative here who'd like to speak on it.
Because
Good evening again.
Good
Dave
evening.
De La Spriella, Vice President with Red Speed. To answer your question, Commissioner, the law allows us to run the cameras a half an hour before school starts to a half an hour after school ends throughout the day. It does, they will run through during the day,
So-
and only when school is in session. So not on the weekends, not in the holidays, not when kids are not there.
Mayor, if
So,
I may. if
so
I-
you mean that the cameras will be working from 9 o'clock in the morning, or maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, to 3:30 in the afternoon?
If those are the times of the school, yes, Commissioner.
And what about when the children are in the rooms? There are no children crossing.
Well, I think the intent from the legislature was that during the day, at any given time, kids could be coming in and out of school because they've got doctor's appointments or the parents have to come visit. So it's not just while they're coming into the school for the start of the school session, but the intent was it could, at any point in time, the kids could be, and the parents could be coming in and out of the school zones.
So just to piggyback on Commissioner's point, so there's two things on this that I want to bring up. First of all, we have a speeding problem on 16th Street that's pretty bad. We were talking about doing circles, we're talking about I've even proposed even the crazy idea of even, shortening the width of the road, because it's one of the biggest complaints I get. I would like to see, just as a percentage of, so you by statute have the ability to cite 11 miles over. That is a road that is, I believe, a 30-mile-an-hour road without a school, when it's not a school zone.
Correct.
I would like to adjust, and this has happened in the contractual stage, but I would like to adjust what the speed is while it's not school zone hours. However, that road, Commissioner Cabrera is working on an item in the county that will change that road to a 25-mile-an-hour road. At that point, it would go appropriate from percentage level to be back at 11 over, because that's a massive percentage change, and on that road. So that'll happen in the negotiation stage. I'm sure we'll have a conversation with the manager to make sure that's negotiated in. But those are my thoughts on that.
Now, you represent the same company that is installing the cameras in Sunset Drive?
Yes, sir.
Miller Drive? Okay.
South Miami, Pinecrest, yes, sir,
Yeah.
those.
I have a friend who have a cafeteria by Sunset,
Okay.
and he was telling me about that about a month ago. He told me, Luciano, the problem I have now with my customers is that sometimes they come here very angry because the camera took a flash, and they said, no children. It's not a school at that time. No school crossing. A school crossing. And he was telling me, as a businessman, I have a problem now. Because the company, your company, installed the camera, but you have computers that work with the cameras. And those computers can be graduated, can be put the time 9 to 4, 24 hours, but can these cameras should be, in my mind, I am not a cybernetic person, you maybe are, but that those cameras are controlled by the computer. Is that for the children crossing, or is it just for the horse crossing?
So, a couple things. One, I'm not sure what your friend is talking about, because.
Forget about my friend.
Well,
I'm
but
talking
but I think it's
the common sense.
I don't think
Common
anybody's
sense.
online, right?
No, they're not
Yeah,
online. That's what I'm trying to
I'm
say.
talking about
First of all,
common sense.
we don't use Flash, and
No, I'm
second, they're not
telling you
online yet.
the real thing.
Right.
I told my friend, because it's the real thing.
So if the speed zone, if the speed zone is 30 miles per hour in front of a school, okay? And it's in the middle of the day, so the 15 mile per hour is no longer applicable because now we're in the middle of the day. The intent of the law is to provide the safety of that roadway in front of the school the entire time that kids are in school, because you never know when parents have to take kids in and out of school. You never know when, there's going to be a lot of activity coming in and out of school for different reasons. I mean, I go to my daughter's school from time to time in the middle of the day for picking her up to take her to the doctor's office or to the dentist's office. So the intent was to be able to provide that safety and security during the entire day. Now, the state law is 10 miles per hour, so if it's a 30 mile per hour zone, you're not even citing them until our cameras are not going to activate until they hit 41 miles per hour.
And I would suggest, by the way, when it's not a school period, about a 15-mile-an-hour
And
difference.
it can be adjusted.
Which is a 50% increase in the rate
And
of
it can
speed.
absolutely be adjusted, Mr. Mayor, for
Let
that.
me tell you, sir, you looks very smart person.
Thank you.
You have to be in that business. If you are in that business, you have to be very smart. But the point is that the children crossing is what the concept has been sold to the people. Children crossing. Now, if the teacher have a problem that they have to get out from the school, run across the street, or the children, or the mother, or the whatever, this is an exception. But if you try to put the camera for children crossing all hours from the school open, school open is one thing, children crossing is another thing. I don't want to make more comment to you. I just want to tell you, I do not like that kind of camera in my city.
No, I agree with the commissioner, and that's,
Mayor?
those are the, yeah, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, but I need to interject here. We're not having a discussion on that. What we're really here tonight and what's in front of you all is a change of vendor, and it's a change of who is managing the system, the whole system. It's not a discussion of the, say, school zone factor.
Let's go for second reading.
Mayor, I
Next.
I had made a motion. I don't know if you, I had made a
Your
motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's a motion. This discussion will continue at the second reading on the item. Go, we have a motion?
Second.
We have a second?
Second.
Call the roll?
Yes, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
To install that,
And that's the vendor.
Changing the vendor.
huh?
Changing the vendor.
Changing the vendor.
I beg your pardon, I was thinking, what is the motion for?
This is for the vendor. This isn't for the ordinance. This is for the vendor.
Yes, I think, Mr. Mayor, it may not,
I don't get
it
it.
was said by the manager, but the school zone speed program is on second reading at the next commission
Correct.
meeting.
So this
At
is
which
not,
point, how that program would
oh, this is
operate.
not first reading, oh, it's consent.
This is
So
a
this is
resolution.
just the vendor.
This is just the vendor. This is not how the program works.
Well, anyway, I vote no for anything with these cameras.
Okay.
But if it is like a first reading, I vote yes.
No, it's not first reading. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
4-1, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 13, good of the order.
Anyone go to the order?
Yeah, I do have something.
Go ahead.
Everybody knows that I'm a big buff of history, and I delight myself reading about great personalities and characters of our past. And in particular, I was reading about this very remarkable woman. Her name is Rear Admiral Grace Hopper. And I encourage everyone to look this woman up. She is remarkable. She was a Rear Admiral in the United States Navy. She was very petite, weighed about 100 pounds, but boy, was she something. And she paved the way for computer programming and so on and so forth. But anyways, what's really remarkable about her that is a very, very famous quote by her. And it goes like this: the most dangerous phrase in the language is, "We've always done it this way."
Thank you for that. I'd like to remind everyone, invite everyone on Friday. We're having our first South Under the Stars event. That's after our very successful Jazz Under the Stars event from last fall. So we're very excited for that. And continue doing events that are just really community-based for the residents. With that, can I motion to adjourn? No. Manager, you have something?
No, you said what I was going to remind you.
You got a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.